everyone and welcome. This is episode 65 of Off the Sprue, and in this one I'll be showing you how to modify the steering on your vehicle model. I'm currently building the Jackal from Hobby Boss, a very nice kit indeed. And one of the things I wanted to do was to turn the front steering. The suspension on this vehicle makes that possible. And honestly, this is something I've used with great effect in previous builds. It just looks a little bit more visually interesting when one turns the steering. When one looks at the instructions for this kit, it's clear that Hobby Boss really went to a lot of trouble to accurately reproduce the suspension on the Jackal, and all the necessary parts are included. And because they've done such a great job at this, it makes it easier for us to modify the steering. What also helps in this case is the fact that I've got 4 identical sprues in this kit with all the suspension parts, and this makes it possible to experiment a little and to do this modification. See, there are the what I believe is called the steering knuckles, and we've also got these tie rods, and those will be modified in order to turn the steering. Guys, and of course I'm not a mechanic, but I went online and found some information just to help me along in this process. First step, of course, is to remove the relevant parts from the sprues. These are the steering knuckles, and they require a little bit of cleanup. Of course, not a lot of flash on this kit, and there you can see those are the basic components, and these we'll be modifying. That's the those 2 arms on the steering knuckle will have to be moved slightly, and that's something I'll be showing you right now. The tool that I'll be using is this 1mm saw from Tamiya, and the reason I'm using this is to remove as little material as possible, because I don't want to change the tolerance on this part. You can see there the shaft section has been removed, and all I need to do now is just to sand this around again. See, that's the result. This one is good to go. I'm using this needle file to shape the shaft section, and all I want to do there is just to create a little hollow so it will mount up to the side. And there you go. That is more or less what we want. Now make sure that you tilt this in the right direction for the steering on your model. You can see there, that's what I'm trying to achieve, and those are the parts that I'll be modifying. Now, to glue these very small parts in place, I'll be using gel type super glue from Green Stuff World. This is my go-to glue for most of my modeling work. Just a tiny drop, and part can now be positioned in place. There we go, and that is perfect. Loving that result. And you can see there's the original and there's the modified part, and we really didn't change much in terms of tolerance on those 2 parts. This is the second one, and this was a failed attempt because you can see there my cutting was a bit horrible. Fortunately, there are spares on the sprues. Thank you, Hobby Boss, for that. This is attempt number 3. And this goes a lot better. Clean cut, there you can see. And all I need to do is, of course, to clean up this part similar to the first one. At this point, it's a good idea just to do a test fit. Make sure that I've got these in the right direction. Tolerance looks good. It still fits the other parts. And now just to determine the correct angle for this and make sure that you get this right. Once this is done, the shaft section can be glued to that. Now, one of the great things about Tamiya extra thin cement is its gap filling properties, and that's something I'll be using by applying this to those steering knuckles, just to fill up those gaps where I made the cut. And really, this glue is ideal for that. There we go, 2 modified steering knuckles, and these are ready to go into the vehicle. I'll be using some aftermarket wheels on this. These are from DEF model. I hope I pronounced that correctly. DEF model. And these are some really gorgeous resin molded wheels. And I've used some of their parts in the past, and really these guys do some great work in resin. You can see the beautiful detail there on the side of that Michelin tire. And it's of course made for this kit, so it will fit in place perfectly. Quick little test fit on the rear. You can see there, that's what it's going to look like. And yeah, we're good to go. It's always a risk to modify parts like these, but fortunately you can see the tolerance is still correct. Everything still lines up, and we're good to go. Tiny little drop of extra thin just to glue those parts in place. Next I'm going to modify these tie rods, and of course the one will have to be shortened and the other one will have to be lengthened. Let's first deal with the one that needs to be shortened. You can see there, doesn't quite line up with that little hole. I do approach this very carefully, cut a little bit, measure again, cut a little bit more if necessary. Remember, always measure twice, cut once. And there we go. It's been shortened the correct amount and the fit is perfect. We can move on to the one that needs lengthening. Now to lengthen this, I'm going to need some 1mm rod styrene from Evergreen. Everybody is familiar with this, and I start off by just cutting a section that's a little bit longer than the current rod, more or less there. That should be enough. Little section of this, make a clean cut over there. There we go. Next I need to remove the rod section. This is cut with my Tamiya side cutters. And once I've done that, I drill a small guide hole just to make sure that I get a good fit with the new rod styrene part that I'll be fixing to this. Small drop of gel type super glue, and I just press the styrene rod in place. There we go, something like that. Make sure it's properly aligned. And there you go. Next I have to insert that little bend that I see in the original part. This is easily done with a pair of pliers. There we go. Now, of course this is going to be too long, so I follow the same procedure again. Do some measurements, carefully cut a little bit at a time, measure again, and continue with this process until I have the correct length. There you can see it fits perfectly. And really this is about the most difficult part of the entire job. You can see that we've successfully modified the steering, and the wheels will now turn slightly to one side as I'd hoped. Only thing remaining to do is to add the remaining control arms, the upper control arms. These are put in place. The fit on this kit's really good, guys, and honestly some of this stuff can friction fit together, so kudos to Hobby Boss for that. Small little amount of Tamiya extra thin is all that's required. And once that is done, I can finally fit the tires, and you'll see the steering knuckle has these little tabs, and they will line up with the resin wheels. You can see there, that is where the tabs are going to fit. Guys, and that's it. I've successfully modified the steering. The reason I'm showing this is something you can apply to many other models. I've done this for Land Rovers and on Humvees and a few other kits, and really it adds a lot of visual interest. So one of those basic skills, I think, if you're building AFV models, and definitely something to keep in mind. A little bit of research is required, but it's certainly worth the effort. Folks, and that's it then for episode 65. Thank you for joining me for this. You can follow the rest of this build if you follow me on Instagram. I do regular updates there, and hoping to see everyone in episode 66 coming soon.